And we're live. Welcome back, Shifties. Boy, almost did just not come out of my mouth. Welcome back to Shift the Journey. Oh my gosh, it's been a long time. It feels like it's been a long time. I think the last episode that I had was maybe a month ago. I had something that was set up, but we had to reschedule. Just didn't work out. That's fine. Things happen. Speaking of things like rescheduling, this guy was supposed to be on the show last year around this time, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, my dad went to heaven like the day before. So we decided, hey, let's hold off to when maybe I'm not crying and we can have a good conversation. I don't know though; you might make me cry today, so we'll see what
I'll try.
happens.
That's my goal.
We'll
I have
see.
a short list of goals on this notepad. That's it. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, but so our guest today is Jon-Marshall Vaile, not Vaile. People have called him Mr. Vaile before,
Mhm.
but he likes it though. Don't
I love
don't
it.
don't let him fool you. He likes it. It sounds fancy, so he likes it. But JM and I worked together. I don't know. It seems like 3,000 years ago, but
Mhm.
in some ways, it feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
But we worked together. We had a interesting mix of automation and data visualization, and interesting mix of or interesting changing of the guard is it where when it comes to like tools, technology, and people leadership. Yeah, that was interesting. But so we're gonna get in. Let's get into your story. Okay,
Yeah.
so I know where you're from, Mister
Yeah.
Amish Man. Tell
Yep.
everybody else where you're from originally.
I'm from born and raised in Virginia, Northern Virginia, so 20 minutes outside of DC. Went to college at JMU, so still in Virginia. And then after went back to Northern Virginia. So up until I was like 26 or so, I was in Virginia.
So I one thing that I thought was funny was when Angela and I were at your wedding, and we're in the reception hall, and we're sitting there and we're talking to people, and people are like talking about JM, but it was not you. And I was like, wait, what? I was so confused because they kept saying, do you know him from JM? And I was like, yeah, I know JM. You talking about the guy that just got married? And then somebody said James Madison, and I was like, that's bizarre. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't go to a school that had the same initials as me. I don't know. Is there a
Yeah.
PTU somewhere? I don't
Yeah.
know. But I was like so confused, and then I looked at Angela. And we are like, oh, we felt
Funny
so
thing
dumb.
with I didn't realize it. So my dad spent a lot of his life in Virginia. I didn't realize that he went to JMU until after I already was at JMU. So apparently that's like a family place for us.
Oh well, already.
I didn't know.
That's so funny. I'm a legacy student, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
So okay, so on your little thing there it says data guy, but
Yeah.
what what was your major at
I was
JMU?
a psychology major.
So I have conversations with people all the time who came from something different,
Mm.
and their reasoning for going into data is always different. It's so interesting how people like connect the dots or don't connect the dots. They go, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
going to jump." What made you want to get into the data, like the field of data?
Yeah. I kind of followed the path of like I think there's a couple of like major camps of how people fall into careers. One on kind of one side of things, people pick a direction and then they like go there, and then on another side, people kind of find themselves in a place and realize that if you plot backwards, it's a direction. That's kind of where I am. So schooling, my dad always kind of told me like, hey, your degree doesn't really matter what you study. Like you want to get a degree, just pick something you like. And so it's like, okay. So I picked psychology because it was in my associate's degree. It was one of the classes that I had the most fun with.
Mm-hmm.
The other being like digital media. So I was actually going to JMU because they have, or I don't know if they still do, but they had really great digital media.
I know this is like 50 years ago, right?
Yeah, at
Yeah.
least. So, well, I don't know. Maybe it's something new like TikTok media. Who knows?
Who knows even? And
Um,
so what was your first gig out of college then?
First gig. So I graduated and realized that I didn't know what I was going to do. So was just filling space. A friend told me about. Well, actually, first I was a substitute teacher. I knew
Oh,
about that world because in psychology I had some required time at um, at a elementary school. So
okay.
I was a substitute teacher. Hated it. I hated it so much. I I like teaching a lot, but I don't like teaching people who don't want me to teach them anything.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
really I have so much respect for teachers. Um, After that, and then I ended up marrying one.
Yeah.
So I was a substitute teacher, and then I figured out that was not for me. Found a temping agency, and I only knew what temping was because of The Office, Ryan the temp, and so I was a temp for. I kind of bounced around, do like short-term contracts. Ended up at a home building company filing papers, and that was my longest temping situation. Then they took me on onto their temp agency. So I wasn't
Mhm.
hired, but I was like, they moved me over to their temp agency. So it's like
Okay.
I got promoted basically.
Okay.
So I was their temp and just filed papers for, I think it was like 8 months. And that's where I started using Excel.
Oh.
I had gotten into like programming and stuff because growing up, I liked making websites. And so I knew HTML and all the code to make your beautiful websites and your MySpaces pretty and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I started using Excel for organizing my labels, because I had to print the labels for the filing system,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and learned about Visual Basic, which is like kind of the code behind Excel that can allow you to do some automation stuff beyond
Mhm.
just what's in the little formula bar. Even the formula bar is, some people haven't ever used it, but I went past that, found Visual Basic because I was like, I could actually like really automate some stuff. This is awesome. Started
Yeah.
automating some things, and then started like making reports off of what I was accomplishing with filing. And the more I did those things, the more I found a need at the company for reporting stuff. Like their recruiting director didn't have anybody to make reports for him. So I started making reports for the recruiting director.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I was in benefits, recruiting, took over a report in finance, and it just kind of slowly grew. It was like 4.5 years of just kind of like snowballing into uh, like they're basically their only data guy,
Yeah.
and crystal reports, Taleo,
Wow.
the people analytics, uh, just kind of started growing, started developing my understanding of programming languages, learned a lot of SQL there, kind of started dabbling in Python, found
Mhm.
out it existed, didn't really jump into
It
it.
was like Python 2.
Yeah, something like
Long
that.
time.
It was, yeah, I think it was Python 2, maybe 2.6 or 2.7.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so like when people talk about, when they got into data, and more people, I know more people who have gotten into data that way, right? Who were doing something and then had some kind of need for
Yeah.
some kind of automation or organization or
Yeah.
something, and then they're like, "Hey, look at this! I can do this and I can do that," and then it just like opens up this whole nother world, and they're like, "Wow."
Yeah, because we were kind of inventing a field at that point.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there weren't really data analytics positions. You became the data analyst, but you usually had a different title.
yeah.
And then around that time was where that shift started happening, and people were creating those positions with those actual titles and having like clear job descriptions because people
No,
started
they
understanding the
they
value.
don't. They still don't.
No,
they
yeah.
still don't. And they still don't have the naming conventions. Come on, come on.
Oh gosh.
What's the difference between a business intelligence analyst and a business intelligence developer?
They know to put the year first and then the month.
Well, that's the only way to put a date. Okay, is year
Yeah,
dash
you
month
got to
dash dash
sort
day.
largest to smallest, and then
Right.
then it'll all sort fine.
Exactly. But so one thing people ask often, people who are like trying to get into data are like, "Hey, what was it like being the only analyst?" I know what it was like
Yeah.
because that was what my role was when I was at my last base. Was the only analyst, like delivering a 70 slide PowerPoint deck
Ooh.
every quarter and not being able to take any time off at the end of the quarter because I was the one putting together the slides. It was awful. But what was your motivation to leave that position? Was it
Yeah.
because like, oh, it's too much?
No. So because that really grew organically around me, I was in that sweet spot where uh, I wasn't filling anybody's shoes. So like I wasn't stretched. I was doing
Oh yeah.
I was opening their eyes to what could be done. So it was a great position, great spot. Eventually, once I realized that this is like a whole world that I could like climb the ladder in, um, I it just kind of made me realize that it was a bigger life shift for me. I
Oh
realized
yeah.
one, Northern Virginia, very expensive and
Yeah.
hard to live there if you're not making a lot. I wasn't making a lot. And that's kind of when those two ideas converged of like, oh, this is like a real field with like proper pay raises and stuff. Uh, and it's done in lots of other states in this country that are cheaper. So
Well,
I
so
left because I was relocating to Tennessee. And that's a long story in itself.
yeah, I
Um,
like that story though. I want you to share some of that. So, first off, what about Tennessee made you, oh no, disappeared? What
hello.
happened? That was crazy.
I
You
guess that was
disappeared.
me. I don't know.
Keep your hands away from the computer. So, what was it about Middle Tennessee that you said, "Hey, you know what? I think I want to move to Nashville."
Yeah. The the start of it was in Virginia, and it started with a spreadsheet. I wrote down what I wanted, and then I used a spreadsheet to figure out how to get there. One of the things I wanted to be, a lot of my friends were getting married. I was living with my friends out of college to so that we could cover rent. They were all getting married, and my last friend, uh, who in the area was very seriously dating. So one of the things that landed on my spreadsheet was I wanted to be able to afford a place on my own uh, because I didn't want to have to like every couple of years make a new really good friend or just live with a random person. I'd lived with enough random people to know that that's a roll of the dice. So that was one of the things that landed on my spreadsheet. I wanted to be able to cover my own rent. But then I started thinking longer term. I think kind of like in 7-year horizons. So that's about as far as I was able to think. But I was thinking next 7 years, I'd like to be married. I'd like to be able to do like a single income thing. So that meant probably like to be able to afford a house on my own. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at rent, started looking at houses, looking at that across different states. And then was also thinking, well, okay, so those are my goals there, but like culturally too, I like being around a city. So I want to like city culture wherever I go. So I just had a few bullet points of things I wanted to hit. That spreadsheet really helped me figure out that staying in the area financially, like the growth of my salary and then the growth of rent, it just wasn't going to work out. I needed to live somewhere cheaper. So North Carolina was on the list, liked a couple of cities there. So I quit my job and I drove. I plotted out all the way to Texas, major cities I wanted to stop in and apply to jobs, stay at campsites. So packed up my Jeep. By packed up my Jeep, what I meant was I put my recliner in the back of my Jeep. And then I had very little space left. So whatever I was able to fit in, I fit in, including camping equipment. Went to North Carolina, lived in my Jeep for a little bit and campsites for a little bit, applied to jobs, took interviews. Wasn't liking what the vibe of the cities there. So I moved on to Tennessee, Knoxville and Chattanooga. Man. I hated Chattanooga. I spent a couple hours there. I don't even count it.
Why did you wait? Why did you hate it? Yeah, why though?
It just, I don't know. I didn't like it. It was like it was too much like Northern Virginia.
Oh.
In its like in the feeling of the way things were laid out, the way things looked. And then culturally, it felt too much like college town, at least the part I was in. I didn't go to like Lookout Mountain or maybe some spots that would have not felt that way. But I was like, I hate this. I'm leaving. So I stayed like 2 hours. I think I went to a Panera and then I was like, I'm not living here. I'm not going to do it. Kept driving. I think Knoxville, I had taken a couple interviews, stayed in a hotel. Made it to Nashville. Again, stayed in my car in campsites, applied to jobs, realized there was a ton of jobs in Nashville. So many data jobs. It was awesome. It was like, ooh, this is looking promising. And then a friend of a friend said they could put me up for a month. So I stayed with them for a month and I just like cleaned their house because I couldn't pay them. I wasn't making any money. So in exchange for staying there, I was their maid. I just cleaned their place and got a job offer working for the state. And that was like a few months out. So I drove back to Virginia and I think maybe that aligned with like a holiday or something. So spent the holiday with my family and then moved.
That's, it's interesting to me. So like when we worked together and you told me that story and how you, to save money, ate at like every Waffle House in the city.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So funny.
I think I hit 12 of them in the Nashville area.
Gosh.
I started reviewing all of them. There's like a program on Google Maps where you can become a trusted reviewer, and just purely off of my Waffle House reviews, I became a trusted reviewer. I think I still actually am a trusted reviewer.
Wow, you should be. You should be. What was your go-to order?
I liked waffles. Waffles, eggs, waffles.
all-star special with
Okay.
grits, white toast, eggs over medium, crispy bacon, and just
Ooh,
regular waffle.
yeah,
Yeah. And a coffee and a water.
that's good. I
I
like it.
The last time I went, like we don't go often because Angela it actually makes her like physically sick. I think it's they either well, so she's like corn intolerant. So I think they either
Ah,
use like vegetable oil or corn oil, or she's also allergic to legumes. So if they use
okay.
like peanut oil or like
Uh,
soy something, then she like has problems. And so like the last time I ate there was when I had family come out to Tennessee for my dad's funeral. And so all the guys, like just a bunch of the guys, we got up. My cousin came out from California. I was like, "Hey, you want to go to Waffle House?" He's like, "Oh yeah, let's go."
yeah.
So we went with my son-in-law and my other daughter's boyfriend, and we went and just the dudes. We went and had some breakfast.
Oh
Really
yeah.
bad for you breakfast, but boy, did it taste good.
Oh, it's good.
And the four of us in a booth, there was no, I don't know how we got all the food on there, but it was good.
It
So,
it it sustained me. I mean, it kept me alive. It kept me going. It
because
was
it like puts on that layer of fat
yeah.
so that
Oh,
you're
I had a
like,
layer.
so you're like living off that.
Yeah.
So what I was actually gonna say was like, when you told me the story, I was like, man, that's crazy. You're like super adventurous. That is nuts. But then like later on, as we started to get to know each other more, you were telling me about like your brother was like doing mission work,
Yeah.
and like I'm like, oh, okay. So there's something else like
Yeah.
when it comes to like people who choose to live in other countries, choose to live in like less extravagant lifestyles. Uh, those I find are the same types of people who are like pioneering and will go like, you know what? There's something that I want. I don't know where it is, but I'm gonna go find it, and I'm gonna live in my Jeep until I do. And I mean, that's you. That's you, right? Right?
Yeah, I think,
So
well, I think at some point, I don't know if everybody realizes this, but everybody should at some point have an experience where they realize you can just do stuff. Like when you're a kid, you can't, you kind of can just do stuff, but you can't. Like you've always got a force preventing you. Once you're an adult, like as long as you're within the bounds of the law, there's not a whole, like you can
within
just
the
do
bounds of the
stuff,
law,
of
yes, yes.
course. So yeah, you can just move. You can move. Like Tennessee was better. It was better on paper. So I
Yeah.
drove there, and then it was better in person, and so I just did it.
Yeah, and even now that it's full, like people are like, "Don't come here anymore."
Yeah,
It's still, I still find it. I had a business trip like 2 weeks to DC over the summer, and I'm like, bro, it's expensive out here. Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
it's crazy.
coffee like a small latte with a breakfast sandwich, $25.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? I'm sorry,
yeah,
what did you say? Yeah, no. So you made a good choice. I believe. I
yeah.
believe you made a good choice.
I right before I left, I had been saving for like 4.5 years, and um, had a like minor medium car problem. It completely drained my savings.
Ugh.
That was like the wake up. It's like, oh, okay, so this doesn't actually work. It doesn't actually work to just like pinch pennies in Northern Virginia. Uh, you have to have like your problems can't outpace your income or you're in trouble. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's. I guess that's a little nugget of wisdom that for anybody else out there. Yeah, your problem. Oh yeah, you'd be in trouble once your problems outpace your income.
yeah,
Definitely. So, I know you didn't work for the state for you weren't there a year, huh?
just short. Yeah, I think it was like 10 or 11 months, something
Yeah.
like that.
And so like the track that you were on when we met, you were like the Tableau expert. I
Yeah,
remember, so the guy who hired us was like, "Oh, I'm going to build this rock star team."
Yeah.
right? And he went from having, he had like two analysts, right, who were just like, they were SQL guys, and then, or it was a guy and a girl, and then, uh, and they were just reporting on that one department. And then he introduced the tool, and then they're like, hey, you're gonna do reports for the whole company. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I need people. And so they brought in a couple people from data warehouse, and then they hired you as like the Tableau
Hmm.
expert, and
Yep.
then brought in Alex as the Alteryx
Yep.
expert. And then I came in there with like two years experience of both of those. And I was like, hey, this is fun. But there are obviously several like career paths in data. And one that some people take is like, oh, I'm a fool for tools, right? I said this already in the backstage. Yeah, I'm a fool for tools. I know this and this. Or I'm a coder. Yeah, I don't care about like, the GUI, whatever. I'm a coder and I go this direction. I do data science, or like, I don't, predictive analytics, or whatever the case may be. Um, what would you say was your biggest motivator to go into? You left us and you went to Nashville Software School. What was your obviously it was a great move for you, and we were like, oh, work just wasn't as fun anymore. But hey, whatever. But what was your greatest motivation, like after so many years, like in a like career trajectory, career path? What made you decide that you were going to go to NSS?
Yeah. I I was similar to how I started my career. I at that point was still evolving my understanding of what I enjoy and what I wanted to spend my time doing. Same is true now. I'm always learning more about myself, what I like to do, and that was that was a kind of a moment when I realized just how much I wanted to uh, just how much I wanted to really go into like complex programmatic thinking and go back to like my statistics roots from psychology and like designing studies. Um, I just really like the way that you're you're forced to solve problems. You're forced to solve new problems, problems that are new to you. These problems are not really new, like across the industry, but when you're using a programming language and when you're using just like fundamental statistics, you kind of have to resolve fundamental problems like all the time. And I really, really enjoyed that. And what I was finding with tools was a lot of times the problems are already solved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as efficient. Like if you're not using a tool, it means you might be solving problems that have already been solved. But I just liked solving problems. So I was trying to go more of like a raw math, raw programming route because of the way that forces you to just solve problems all the time and like do equations and get really technical. I always liked writing programming back to when I was making websites and, um, you know, uh, what's it called? MySpace. Um, so yeah, I wanted to get back to that. Wanted to like really dig into kind of the data science direction.
Yeah, yeah. So, so if somebody were to ask you, like, somebody who's like, hey, I've been doing like data analysis and reporting, but
Mhm.
I want something more, out of this field. What would you tell them is the like? What would give a piece of advice for them as they decide like what the next move in their career would be?
Yeah, I think uh, uh, from my trajectory, I've spent most of my career as a generalist. in the data space. Like, I'm really just there to solve problems, and I'll jump on whatever problem. That has been very fulfilling for a long time. But at a certain point, not too long ago, I realized that if I wanted to go further, I needed to specialize in something. And I'd spent periods of time specializing, like I specialized in Tableau, but I didn't push that to the next level.
I know you're supposed to be the Tableau Grand Prix winner. I've been waiting for years.
I'll circle back.
Okay.
Don't write me off yet. But yes, I would say you need to specialize, and it doesn't have to be in a tool. It can be in like an area, a discipline. It could be like, for example, a lot of tech companies, they structure their company with product teams. And if you're an analyst for a product team, you're usually like paired with a product manager or a project manager. More likely nowadays, it's a product manager. And so you're in an advisory role, helping this product manager make decisions. It's good for you to have general data knowledge. It's really good for you to have product specific knowledge. Really good for you to be like a product analyst, have experience working in a product team in that kind of a design. Makes it really helpful when you're looking for jobs. If you are like a product analyst and you're applying for product analytics jobs, the same can be said in like any other area of kind of your typical company. So specialize, like figure out what kinds of industries you're interested in, try to find jobs there if you're able to. You don't always get to pick. Sometimes you have to just go with the flow and just kind of like figure out ways to market yourself with that new experience. Don't let it be wasted time. But whenever you have a choice, try to kind of work yourself into a specialization. It could be a tool, it could be organization, like an industry, or it could be a part of the organization. But that's very helpful.
Yeah, I've found that what a lot of people were looking for, like on my last job quest, a lot of people were looking for domain knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, oh, I see you've worked in insurance. And I'm like, yeah, I worked in insurance for like 3.5 years, like 3.5 years ago. Like, and they're like, oh, can you tell me about this, this, and this? And I'm like, they're talking about like something that was not covered by our insurance policies. Like I was like, oh, it was non-standard auto insurance. And they're like, oh, okay, we're looking for somebody who's got like property and casualty and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, but I can learn it.
They're like, that's the problem. Is like, I think with our like generation of data people, we're used to you're valuable as a generalist. You need to be able to come in and just like figure it out.
Yeah.
There's such a wealth of those people now. I think the industries are starting to realize that they can get a lot of value out of people who have specialized. And that I think that's going to be really important for us as people who've been in the field for a long time to latch onto that idea and transition as we're able to over the next seven or so years.
Your my
7 year
outlook. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so totally forgot what I was gonna say. That's a really good question. Man, I'm out of practice.
Yeah.
What are the? Oh, yeah. Here's what I remember. Okay, so one of the things that we used to do, like what I think one of the reasons that we became good friends is that I'd be like, "Let's go out to eat," and you're like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
And we probably ate at every single like any
Sub
kind of
Depot.
yeah.
Let's go.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
No, I don't like it anymore because they know my order and I feel weird about that.
You never got closure there, though.
Yeah.
So
I just felt exposed.
Hey, man, some of those places, got closed down. They didn't make it through COVID.
Did Sub Depot get closed down?
Yeah, I think that was one of the casualties of COVID. That's crazy.
So many memories.
Yeah. So, like, you've been working from home for the past, what's it been, like 5 years, 6 years? Exclusively, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, like, there's a lot of the work from home jobs are going away or have gone away, and like 100% remote, right? There are tons of like hybrid roles out there, and then even greater amount of on-site roles. If there's somebody who's like working on-site or working like hybrid, what are give me two like pros and cons of working 100% remote?
Mm-hmm. I would say the like introvert extrovert thing plays in a lot, and I would say I'm an introvert, so I can go.
No,
I can yeah. I can
me too.
I can go quite a while without interacting with people outside of my little family bubble. But even me, the social part, like not being physically around other people, you got to have that. So
yeah,
you can supplement it though. Like it's not an unsolvable problem. You can just have that in your everyday life. But with how many hours in the week work consumes, it is nice working on site to have that just kind of built into your days, just being around people. So I would say that that's the con of working remote. The pro of working remote is you don't have to be around anybody at all. No, I'm just kidding. The pro of working remote is it also depends on the way your company operates, but a lot of times in my experience, remote work is more flexible with your schedule. So it's easier to kind of fit in the like doctor appointments and little like emergency trip to go get milk and then just work a little later or like there's just the kind of a built-in flexibility a lot of times with those that's very nice. So it's nothing revolutionary, nothing new. A lot of people talk about the same pros and cons, but it's all kind of true.
Yeah, and I have the same perspective as an extrovert. The thing that I missed when I was working 100% remote was being around people I worked with. But now I'm around people I work with all the time, and I go, sometimes I just want to be in my office by myself. Sometimes I just want to be in my office, by myself with my door shut, and not hearing all the different conversations while I'm trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that's the life.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Commute. That's another thing I didn't mention. Commute is not having a commute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So when we worked together, you lived like less than half the distance that I did to the office, but it took you twice as long to get
Oh
there.
my gosh. So soul crushing.
It's like when it comes to the commute, like the length of the commute and how bad it is always depending on what side of the city you lived on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm 30 miles from the office and it would take me 35 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what time did you leave this morning?
I'll tell you at Sub Depot today. Yeah, sometimes like if with no traffic, for context, my commute can be it can be as short as 25 minutes to the old office.
Hmm.
It sometimes would take me 2.5 hours. Completely unpredictable. Sometimes it was 45 minutes, and that was one of the hard parts. Was just you didn't know what you were going to get, and I don't miss that. That was
It's like, I'm going to take surface streets. And it's like, oh, I think everybody decided to take
yeah.
surface streets. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awful. Yeah. Oh no, no. Yeah, my first job in the Nashville area, we lived in Creve Hall, and the office was in Brentwood. And it was like 4.5 miles away. And it took me like 10 minutes to get there in the morning and like 15 minutes to get home. And then the company moved to downtown, like there's the corner of Charlotte and I can't even remember, is 11th Street and Charlotte Avenue. I think that's what it was. This is the Health Trust, HCA. Um, and so I still lived in Creve Hall, and it was 7.5 miles, and it was 35 minutes in the morning, hour and 45 minutes in the afternoon. It was terrible. That was awful, man. I'm like, and
It's
wrecks
terrible.
and all that stuff. So, but yeah,
The
yeah,
positive was like you could listen to podcasts
yeah,
or music or call people.
yeah.
Or
But
something,
you have to be careful though. If you're listening to a podcast and it's raining outside, and then you decide, all right, I'm gonna run inside, it might be a bad thing, because after lunch somebody might come to your desk and say, hey, do you own a white Jeep? It's running.
did I do that?
You don't remember that? Yes. It was raining so bad you ran from there, and then you said you had to go in through the back, like unsnapping or whatever. And crawling into the back, and you're like, it was all hot and steamy in there.
I probably just wanted to keep the AC running so it was cool when I get in after work. That must have been it.
Oh my gosh. We're like, dude, you're so lucky it didn't get stolen. I mean, so you get in and drive away. You're like, I was listening to a podcast and there was a break in the rain. I decided to run for it. Oh man, I tell people that story all the time.
Some things just aren't important to worry about. Like the car will stop itself eventually.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not, at that time you didn't live in it anymore, so it's okay.
Right. It wasn't my home.
Right. It wasn't your home. Oh my gosh.
I still have that
times,
recliner, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's where we do our nighttime stories with my son.
Oh,
It's a good recliner, I'm telling you.
That's awesome. Yeah. Son, I brought this recliner down in the back of my Jeep. One day you'll take this recliner in the back of your Jeep as you go look for your career as
That's
well.
right. That's exactly right.
Oh man. On that note, I'm going to end the stream, but you and I are going to talk in the studio. But everybody else, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I was going to say wish you a Merry Christmas, but it is actually not December yet. So, happy Thanksgiving in advance. And I'll see you guys on December 1st. December 1st, I'm going to be interviewing my former chief, Michael Lamond. So we'll see how he's doing, what he's doing, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.